Recording? Yep. All right, so welcome again. My name is Stephanie and I'm head of the international office at University College Epsilon. And I will just do a quick introduction and then leave the presentation of the program to the pros. But you are here tonight to hear about what we have to offer in terms of biotechnology at Epsilon. So first of all, as I just said, welcome. I will just briefly introduce everyone in the panel, and then most of them will be talking later on. So along with myself from the international office, I have my colleagues Helene and Annemette, who also take part in these activities. Then we have Catherine, who's head of studies at Biotechnology, and Akshita, who is currently a student with us there. And then we have Maria from the admissions office, who will be able to answer questions in that regard. So before we start talking a lot, we're curious to know where you're listening in from. So if you want to share that with us in the chat, just write your country, where you're from. If you want to write more than that, you're welcome to do so, but just go ahead and do that now as I do a bit more introduction here. So this is the program that you will be following tonight. I will just give a brief introduction to Epsilon, and then the rest of the points that you see here will be covered by the people from the program, so mainly Katrine and Akshita. So University College Epsilon is one of the university colleges in Denmark, and we cover the region of Zealand, so the region that Copenhagen is close to, but not part of. We're on the same island as Copenhagen, so as you'll also see later in the presentation, it's very easy to get there from Kalundborg, where the program is placed. Our programs are very much defined by the fact that they combine theory and practical knowledge, and the same goes, of course, for the biotechnology program. And also that when we talk about the practical part, we do have internships in all of our programs, some of them up to 1.5 years. In biotechnology, it's half a year. So that's something that's very valued in our programs, and that we have a very high degree of focus on in the different educations that we offer to students. That being said, also, we are very much a regional institution. So we cover very broad parts of the region, as you can see here with all the little white squares. And that means that we, for example, at the Central International Office and the Admissions Office, we cover all the different locations that are placed around the region. I think that's all I want to say. I know that you are here to listen in on biotechnology. So what I just want to say before we get started is a bit about the sort of technical side of things. So this is a Zoom webinar that you may or may not have visited before. I was asking you to write in the chat where you're from. Please get that done now if you would like to do it, because then we will actually turn off the chat. Because in Zoom webinar, there is a function instead called Q&A, and we would very much like you to use that throughout the presentation tonight. So during the presentation and also afterwards, if you have questions for us, you can just go ahead and ask them there. And then you will, of course, receive an answer either in writing from one of us, or we will pose the question in the presentation, so you can get an oral answer depending on the nature of the question. So please use that function as we get started. And I think that would be it from me. Katrine, will you take over from here?
Yes, I will. There we go. So welcome, everyone. My name is Catherine, as Stephanie said, and I'm head of studies at the Bachelor of Engineering in Biotechnology. That basically means that I'm head of everything to do with the courses and the way that they are taught and the way that they are structured. But luckily, I have a lot of very nice lecturers that help me with the actual teaching as well. So as Stephanie said, University College Epsilon is placed on the same island as Copenhagen. So we're about 1 hour and 15 minutes by train from Copenhagen to Kalundborg. And then you might ask, why Kalundborg? Why an engineering program in Kalundborg? At least some who are Danish who might wonder that a bit. But the thing is that we now have 2 engineering programs in Kalundborg. We have a program in biotechnology and one in mechanical engineering. And we have that because Kalundborg is a very special place. It has some of the largest biotech companies in the world. We're talking about Novo Nordisk. They produce half the world's insulin in Kalundborg. We have Novozymes that are one of the world's biggest producers of enzymes for food and feed and detergents and all of that. We have Christian Hansen that produces a lot of microbiota and probiotics. We've also got a refinery from Equinor. We've got Novo Nordisk Engineering and a lot of other companies. And they are the reason why we are in Kalundborg and why we want students to come to Kalundborg as well. So, as I said, Campus Kalundborg has 2 engineering programs, and then we have another biomedical laboratory technician program as well. And one of these programs is in English, and that is the Bachelor of Engineering in Biotechnology. At the moment, we have around 130 students on campus. We're still a fairly new campus, just opened around 4 years ago. The campus we have now is very close to the student housing, or new campus that I will talk about later. It's also very close to that. It's a small campus, I would say, in relation to other universities in big cities. But it's new and it's very cozy, as you might say it. It's a small study environment, and you have very nice new facilities. So this slide here is actually also one of the reasons why the program is located in Kalundborg. This is a graphic showing the Kalundborg symbiosis. Kalundborg is the first industrial city in the world that has a functional industrial symbiosis. It's one of the largest symbioses in the world. And a symbiosis means that you, across companies and organizations, reuse waste or heat or water and whatever you have of products that you cannot use anymore in your production, you have someone else to use. So you can see that there are blue and red and green lines going from, for instance, Novozymes to Novo Nordisk, or to the bioenergy plant, or the wastewater and biogas production sites. And this unique collaboration, that is one of the first and one of the largest in the world, is why Kalundborg is such an interesting place to be, and why there's a unique collaboration between the companies. Sorry. So when we think about a Bachelor of Engineering in Biotechnology, then for some, biotechnology might be one thing, and for others it might be another thing. So it can be anything from a small petri dish with a bacteria in it, and then it can be a large industrial scale production site basically. So the way we see biotechnology in Kalundborg is primarily in relation to biotechnology-based production. And this could be biotechnology used in food technology, in pharmaceutical science and production, could be wastewater treatment, could also be what we could call environmental chemistry, it could be biogas production, energy production in any way. So it covers a rather big range of areas of interest in this biotechnology. And then there's the thing about a Bachelor of Engineering in Biotechnology. Some of you have seen a Bachelor of Biotechnology or Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology. So what is it that you can do when you're an engineer? Well, it can be a little bit hard to explain sometimes, at least spell, as I can see in this slide. But basically you become a technical problem solver. Most engineers, they work in multidisciplinary project teams at international companies. They solve various problems within a production, within research and development, and their job is to provide the technical solution and know how to calculate, know their chemistry, know their biology, know their physics, and in that way help to solve problems. And that can be both within biotechnology, production, quality of products, environmental issues, and everything else. So if we look a little bit more on the Biotech program, and have an overview of it in my next slide, I think it is. The program starts on September 1st. So there we have an intake of all the new students. We have around 20 nationalities on campus so far, even though we are a rather small campus. In our international class, we have a maximum of 40 students. So this is not a large university lecture hall that you'll be part of where you're 1 in 600. So this is where you have class-based teaching, you have project-based teaching, you work in small teams, you will have daily contact with the lecturers, you'll be able to ask questions and really interact both with your fellow students, but also with your lecturers. In all of these project-based teaching and the group work and everything else, we have a very close collaboration with the biotech industry. That's why we are in Kalundborg. That's why we are located in the middle of it, because we really want to collaborate with them. And I'll get back to that in a little later. But they contribute to casework, to company visits, and everything else. That's really one of the unique things about this program. The program takes 3.5 years, so it's a Bachelor of Engineering in Biotechnology. And what is unique with this one is that you have 6 months of internship in an engineering company. You will apply to this internship as you would do to a normal job. Basically, we help a little bit, but it is like applying for a job. And you will be there full-time for 5 months, and you will work there and be part of a team, be part of a company, and do engineering tasks. And then the study environment is, considering our size, very, very international. We also have international lecturers, so you will meet a lot of different people when you are at campus. So if we look at the structure of the program, so it's 3.5 years, so that's 7 semesters. Each semester is made up of different courses. Every course starts at the beginning of the semester, ends at the semester end with an examination. We have the engineering internship on semester 6. You finish up the bachelor project, usually in collaboration with a company. But before you get to the engineering internship, you have a lot of courses that you need to pass and to participate in. So we have all very traditional natural science courses in chemistry, math, statistics, physical chemistry, chemical engineering, mathematical modeling that you of course would need to participate in. And then we have these light blue courses that are called Project 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these are some of the unique courses at the program. This is where you work with a project or a case from a company, and you work together in a group. And besides having to focus on, let's say, project 1 on semester 1, you work with the production of insulin at Novo Nordisk. So you actually go through the entire process from the raw materials coming in to the insulin coming out of the factory. So you get an overview of that process, and you get a chance in your project to focus on one specific unit operation in it. That could be the fermentation process, it could be the downstream processing of it, it could be a filtration, it could be distillation of the ethanol that is needed for the production. So you get a chance to do that, and you work together in a group. And not only do you need to know chemical engineering, math, and biotechnology in this project, you will also learn how to collaborate with your fellow students. That's a very, very important competence when you are graduating as an engineer. You will be faced with that from day one in your working life. You will learn how to communicate in writing and in oral communication, and to manage and to control and to plan a project and a process. So that's also part of the program besides the math and the chemistry. And then each project you have, you become more skilled and you get more competences in this one. And I can say that, for instance, project 2, right now it's about production of biogas. So you go in the lab and you work with an actual practical problem in the lab with the production of biogas. You do a lot of data collection, you present your project. So a lot of interesting projects here. And again, I think we can take it in the Q&A if there are any more detailed questions to this one. So again, these are some of the logos of all the businesses and organizations that we work together, or just some of them at least. So we work together with Novo Nordisk, Novozymes, Lundbeck. We have everything from huge international companies to small breweries that we use for instance, the fermentation project. So you can actually do a fermentation process yourself in the lab. We work together with these companies with project cases, with bachelor projects. You go and visit when you have chemical unit operations on semester 3, you go and visit, I think it's up to 5 different engineering programs or companies, and get to network, get to sort of create an impression on how it is to be an engineer, how it is to work in the different companies. And many of the companies also provide you with study jobs when you start the program. So if you are lucky and can get over, you can actually get a study job in one of the companies. You can do your internship there, you can do your bachelor project there, and then maybe you'll get a job afterwards. That's at least the idea, that you are onboarded on these programs during your education. So furthermore to what you say, make you both good students and future good employees at the companies. We have just started a mentor program in 2020. So we have 2 mentor programs, one focusing on the younger students and the one on those that are almost finishing. And they get a mentor from one of the engineering companies in Kalundborg, in Denmark in general. And you get to meet this engineer, hear about what they do, and they can help you with if you have any questions about your student life, career opportunities, which electives should I take, how do I sort of get an internship, and all these things they can help you with. So impression is that both students and mentors are very, very happy with it. And again, mentors will be part of your network. They will be part of those that you can ask questions about how it is to work in Denmark or live in Denmark and all these things. So when you've seen all of this, and you'll also hear Akshita later on tell about how it is to be a student, you might think about, well, is an engineering degree something for me? Then I might say that you should at least ask some of these questions to yourself. So do you think math is interesting? Are you willing to spend time understanding math and using math? And this one, that would be important to know. Are you ready to learn how to program, how to use different kinds of softwares? I won't say that you get a new software every course, but it's close to sometimes. So you need to be willing to do this. Of course, English is part of your student life. It's an international program, but that also means that every textbook you get is in English, and you need to be able to understand the technical language in English. So that's important. Then part of being a student and part of being an engineering student is also that you think high professionalism and that you can solve practical problems. You should be able or should be willing to go to the lab to take active part in project work and project solutions. If you think that is good, then engineering is for you. Again, solving problems of the future, be able to sort of speak your mind on where the projects are going, where the solutions are going, how can we solve sustainability issues, environmental issues, production issues, all of these things. If you think that's interesting, this is one way into solving some of those. And then there's, of course, some work that needs to be done. So you should, of course, be willing to put many hours in your studies. We say at least 41 hours a week, and that is, of course, an average. So just before exams and everything, it might be more than 41 hours. So those are some of the check questions that you can use for this one. And then when you graduate from University College Epsilon as a Bachelor of Engineering in Biotechnology, well, you can either go directly into a job where you make sure that you are qualified and have a great opportunity to get an engineering job in Denmark, or you can choose to study a master's degree either at a Danish university or abroad somewhere. When you apply for an engineering job in Denmark, it would probably be within pharmaceutical production, food technology, environmental issues, wastewater, everything else. And you can work with production, quality, project management, process engineering, project development, everything. I mean, that's just the short list that you have here with the titles. And then there is the study environment, and I think Akshita might be better qualified to say something about the study environment than me, maybe. I think I can start, Akshita, by saying that all of these study activities are from before Corona.
Yes, yeah. I would say that the overall study environment is really, really helpful, and it's not only like it's a very different environment for me, because here everyone is helping everyone. All the students are engaged with each other during exams, and the teachers are very much engaged. And I think the pattern of the entire course is really helping me to grow. And I've had like really good experiences.
Yeah, and I think I may be able to supplement a little bit on you, Akshita, saying that we really value that students have an opinion about what needs to happen on campus, that they are an active part of the study environment, and if you have a great idea about some activities, then, well, you write an email to me, or you come visit me at my office, and then we'll figure something out about how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And then in just after the summer holidays, actually, we have a new campus coming in Kalundborg. It's going to look something like this. I think I have a video in the next slide where you can see it. But this campus is actually going to be placed right next to the Novo Nordisk production site. So if companies weren't close to us before, they sure will be it after the summer holidays. And we'll get new laboratories, new classrooms, and very nice areas for the study environment. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Kalundborg, but just a brief map of it. So you would have our new campus here, and this is actually the Novo Nordisk production site. You have south of it, there's a train station next to it. Up here, just a little north of the harbor, you would have the new student dormitory that is built, where there are very, very nice new rooms to live in. And now I need to get this video about the new campus running. Please say if there is no sound. So that is in not very many weeks where we move into the new campus. So we're really, really looking forward to that. Before we go to the admission requirements, I don't know if you have anything to say, Akshita, about being a student at the Biotech program.
Yes, I would like to say that. So I come from India, and it's a very far place. So initially I was very scared, and because I had no idea about how it's going to turn out to be in a completely new continent, in a different country. But I've heard a lot about Denmark, that it's a first world country and everything is very organized and stuff. So I was very hopeful. And I think that I was right about it. When I came here, it was very easy for me to move in. And also, since all the international people, they are all from different countries. So making friends was also very easy for me. And the classes, it's like in the first semester, they take things a bit slow, because they keep things in mind that for students, things are very new. So they are very helpful. So the hardness, the level of hardness, it increases with the semester. And also it does not become hard at once. People, like the teachers and the program, it prepares you in a way that you can handle things in the upcoming semesters. For example, right now I'm in the 4th semester and I have a project, and I've already given my mathematics and my analytical chemistry exam. And I think with every semester I'm getting more practical, which was expected of me, and I really like the fact that, and it's because the reason that I'm getting more practical is because there is a very huge intensive lab work, and that really helps you in understanding the concepts very nicely. And apart from that, there are like Catherine mentioned before, there are so many meetings, and that's in the close collaboration with the Novo Nordisk and other biotech companies. So that gives you a very different insight of what is actually happening in the biotech industry. So I think that's really very interesting and something very new for me. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Exita. Then I think it's Maria on admissions.
I'll talk a little bit about the admissions requirements. You need a Danish, you need a secondary degree with some subjects, subject levels. You need mathematics corresponding to Danish A levels, physics B levels or geoscience A level, chemistry B levels, biotechnology or biotechnologies A levels. It can be a little bit difficult to evaluate how high, what subject you have or what the level of the subject you have. So I do recommend you filling out a verification form or have your school fill one out because it can be difficult to, depending on which country you come from, evaluating the subject levels. So if you can, with your application, send in a verification form and have your school fill it out and sign it. You also need English in a B level, corresponding to a Danish B level. You can also, instead of that, you can do a IELTS, IELTS, or a TOEFL, TOEFL test instead. You don't have to have it in school. If you don't, you can take a test instead. Yeah, if you're not sure about the admissions requirements, you can always look at our website or contact our admissions office. Yeah, next slide, please. When you apply, you have to apply through optagelse.dk. Your deadline as an international student is for a quarter 2 applicant is March 15th, which has, unfortunately, that has come and gone. If you are a Danish applicant within the quarter 1 application deadline, that is the 5th of July. If there are any vacant spots, when you apply, you get your response on the 28th of July. If we have any vacant spots at the program on the 28th of July, we will publish that on our website. If you are an international student, you usually have to apply within the quarter 2 deadline. If you are a European student, you can apply for one of the vacant spots. If you're a student from outside the EU, we don't have time. You don't have time to apply for a student visa, so you have to apply next year within the quarter 2 deadline, which is the 15th of March 22. But if you didn't get your application in this year, have a look at our website on the 28th of July and to see if there are any vacant spots at the program. But that is only for Danish applicants or European applicants within the EU that don't need a student visa to go to school in Denmark.
And I think I'll just add EU, EEA countries. So for example,
sorry.
Norway and so on as well can also apply. And then Maria, there's a question with regards to the Cambridge English test, if that's acceptable for admission.
It is, yes. You need, I think it's called B2, C1 or C2 levels that if you have that in your Cambridge, that will also meet the requirements. We do recommend the other two, but Cambridge is also. But you can also use your school English if you have 210 hours. That's kind of how we evaluate. So if you have your school fill out the verification forms, you might have it from your degree and you don't need to take the test on the side. So have your school fill out the verification form so we can count the hours. Yep. The documentation, you need to have your documentation in by the 5th of July. So that is a copy of the original diploma with signature and stamp from your school. The Danish exams will be uploaded automatically, so you don't have to worry about that. If you do have any other degrees or any other relevant experiences, you have to let us know. You're obliged to let us know, so we can evaluate it and see if you can get credit for it. You might have already taken some of the subjects from another program, so we need to be able to evaluate that. So make sure you upload that to your application as well. Yep, and the deadline for that is the 5th of July, your documentation, all your documentation. Conditional admissions is for those of you who are still taking your degrees. If you can document that you're still in the midst of exams, or you might not have your diploma by the 5th of July, we can admit you conditionally on the condition that you pass your exams and you hand in your documentation by study start, September, or 14 days after. If you do not hand in your documentation by then, we will take the place back. We will take, you can't get the spot if you don't pass your exams. So the conditional admission is, yeah, you still have to hand in your documentation by study start. Yep. If this doesn't make any sense to you, please contact us at admissions office. You can call us, or if the time difference is too much, you can email us. I will also say that I'll put a link into the Q&A for our Ministry of Education, where you can go in and check your the levels of the exams that you have, to check and see if you can apply for the bachelor's degree. You can go in and check your country and see what exam you have and if that will give you admissions too. So I'll put that into the Q&A so you can see it. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Maria. And of course, if anyone has questions now as we go along, please just go ahead and ask in the Q&A. This is just a quick note to say that, of course, at Epsilon, as at any other Danish educational institution, we offer special support for students with any type of special needs, and that can be in any type of mental. I like that it says mental, that's obviously a typo there. Mental or physical impairments, so dyslexia, any other special needs that you may have, we will of course be able to help you in that regard. So there are different opportunities to apply for extra time at exams, as it says here, digital tools and different types, especially for students with those needs, mentoring support, extra support hours, and so on. So it's just a matter of if you're accepted to Epsilon and you do have any special needs, please, if you'll change the slide, please. Contact Tina, who is the student counselor at Biotechnology, and she will help you get set up in what you might have need for as soon as possible when you enter the program. And of course, Tina is also available in any other matter in terms of your physical and mental well-being at the program. So she's there several times a week at her office in Cannibal, or available by phone or email. So you can always reach out to her, and you're of course also welcome to contact her now if you have any questions that you think might be for her to answer. All right, I think that's that. Then Akshita, I think I'll let you do this slide and say what a student ambassador is at Epsilon and how you can help.
I can help you with if you have some queries about how the student life is, how I can tell you what the exam pattern or something, but it's better to ask us, it's better to ask that from a teacher, but I can also help you with that. I can share you my experience about how I'm struggling with all the exams and everything. And yes, about if you want to know more about how I live here and everything, please contact me. And I have my details over there. Yes.
Then I think I'll stop sharing the presentation.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
then-
Thank you.
Yeah, and then maybe just as information, I could see that you were from various countries in Europe, at least those participating here. But if there are anyone that by chance are in Denmark this weekend on the 19th of June, we actually have an open house on our new campus. So, but that was just if anyone was nearby.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to go and see the new facilities being built and also really the proximity to all the big industries that are right around the corner and to see what a nice little city Kalundborg is, then I would definitely recommend going there this weekend. We have a
meet a lot of
question.
students and,
Yeah.
and a lot of the lecturers as well.
I'm excited to go there soon and see it. Catherine, we have a question. Would there be an exam at the beginning of the year to see our level?
There will be some exams at the beginning of it, but there will be a study start test, but that's mostly to see if you are an active student or not, and if you're there. Then there will be a math test to evaluate whether you would need some special or extra math help in this one. There will not be an exam at the beginning of the semester sort of to test whether you're qualified or not to go there. That should be dealt with from Maria at admissions to begin with.
All right. Any other questions? This is your chance. You have the head of studies, the admissions office, and a student all at once. We'll give you another minute or two. Akshita, are there any nice events planned already for the coming semester, or are you still just waiting until the COVID situation is a bit more under control?
I think the COVID situation is already under control in Denmark, and
It's looking better at least.
it's looking really better. Things are opening up. The weather is nice, and I'm really excited for the new campus. Yes, right now I have my exam on I have my exam this month. I'm working on my project, so that's pretty interesting and exciting.
Yeah.
So I have a part-time student job at the Novo Nordisk, but since this is like my exam period, so they are also understanding and they are lenient, so I don't have to go to work like I used to on regular days. But apart from that, everything is going great.
And so that's, of course, also one of the really great things about the program is that it's so much been established with and is still run in very much collaboration with the industries. So they take part, as Catherine said, in the mentoring program. They offer student jobs,
Yes.
internship opportunities. And then, of course, they are very understanding in terms of what it actually requires to be a student. And when you have to do your exams, they actually would like you to do that so you can finish up and get a job with them.
And they're actually very helpful and understanding. They always ask me, how was your exam? Every time. And they're not only one, like everybody knows that I have exam and everyone is even more excited than I am. So
that's good to know.
Work in a really good department.
Yeah. So actually, now that you're on, someone is asking, how is life in Kalundborg? What's there to do? Would you like to answer that?
Apart from the students and everything, you can also join in a volunteer work at Red Cross and other stuff. And some of my colleagues, they are really into volleyball. So they play these days, the weather is nice and sunny. So they go to beach volley, they go there. There's also a really beautiful sea. So you could go and take a swim over there. I'm not so adventurous, but I would like to try that sometimes. But yeah, that seems nice.
And my impression is that there are quite a lot of water sports there as well.
Yeah, there is.
There is, yeah.
All right, and then we just have one question actually from India as well. And it's if there are any special instructions for non-EU students, and the only non-EU student instruction we have right now is, of course, that you can't apply until March 15th next year, simply because it won't be possible to get a residence permit in time for starting your studies this year if you apply for the vacant seats. So that's the only thing. Other than that, it's the same requirements as for everyone else. Another question for you, Akshita. What was the biggest challenge as a new student?
I think the biggest challenge for me was to move to a different country. But once you settle down, once you have a place to live and you have your classes and everything, I think then it becomes okay. Sometimes it could get a bit stressful during the exams, but the good thing about this program is that it helps us. If, for example, we get many tries for one exam. If I can give my example, I had statistics and I'm not that good with math, but I wanted to learn. So I gave statistics for the 4th time and I was still given chances. So that was a bit challenging, but I overcame it. So that was good.
We're glad you're still here.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can see Catherine is just providing a link to the new student dormitory, which looks really nice.
Yes.
Yeah, there are a lot of vacant rooms still at the new Kalundborg student dormitory. You can, when you go into the webpage, you can shift to English, so you can see it. It's for Danish standards, it's quite reasonably priced student housing. There, they are newly renovated, and I've heard now that they're not only just rooms, but there are also small apartments that you can rent if you want to live together with someone, or just have more space on your own. I guess that's whatever you feel like. And this one.
So another question for you, Akshita, is in terms of like the first days. So what is it like to arrive? How is study start? Did people take good care of you? I know Helene came and fed you all. So
yes. What I really liked about it was not that you come here and then you start studying. It was not like that. There was a period of a week period of time where the students were introduced to each other, and there were some games that were played among them. So, you can get familiar to the place and to the people that you're going to study with. Also, the teachers and students, they get to know each other. They have introduction days and everything. So it's a friendly environment. So that was a big relief. It was not havoc. And yes, is Kalundborg an expensive city? I think if you work in Denmark, and if you're earning in Denmark, and if you're spending in Denmark, it's a very cheap city to live in for anybody, and especially for students. But if there is a big conversion rate between your countries, and if you're only dependent on the capital from your country and you're converting the money, so it could be a bit expensive, but then you still get chances for having a student job. For example, if you take me, I earn enough to pay my own rent and buy some stuff. I still take help from my parents because I am a non-European student, so I still have to pay the tuition fees, but for my monthly expenses, I can take care of myself. And if you can get a job where you work enough hours to get a student SU, I think, then you can easily manage yourself and even save a lot of money. So I think that's a good thing.
And then we'll just add that the SU is only an option to apply for as the European student, EU student. And with that being said, it is also very much politically discussed at the moment. So it's not something you should plan your studies on. Like if you don't think you can manage financially without that, then you need to save up a bit more before you come to Denmark, or make sure you get a job, because the chances are that this SU state educational support for students, Danish students get it, and EU students have the option at the moment. But it is very likely that that will be limited in the future. I have a sense in terms of where the political winds are blowing at the moment. The dorms are available to all students. No limitations on whether you're first year or anything, right, Catherine?
No, they are for everyone, and they are building, or they're renovating more and more rooms every year. So no thing, but you just need to sign up first, and then I guess you get one.
Then we have the type of question that I think a lot of American universities and so on can answer, but I don't think we do the statistics on this. So someone's asking how many people apply to our institution each year, and what is the admission percentage? I don't think we can answer that. It's individual for each program, how many we accept. Some programs are more than full, others have vacant seats, as we just said. So that's a very difficult question to answer. So I can't, and I'm pretty sure Maria can't either.
Oh, not really. The only thing I can say is in previous years, if you meet the admissions requirements, you will be offered a spot. I can't guarantee that this year at all, but that has been the case in previous years. So if you make sure you meet the admission requirements, that there's a good chance that you will be offered a spot.
Then I think this might be our last question, and I'm not quite sure if it's more for Akshita or you, Catherine, but someone's asking how you organize projects and studies, I guess in terms of like time management.
Maybe I can give my version from the lecturer point of view, and then Akshita can probably answer how it is to be a student, I guess. Well, in terms of project-based work, what is course-related, we, for instance, as lecturers or course managers, set the groups and assign a supervisor to each group that has to work together. And that's sort of mandatory that you work together and that you coordinate and plan. We expect you to be able to do that. We can help, but we don't do it for you. So that's sort of the project work in the groups. And then we are really supportive that you form study groups outside of this as well. I mean, we don't necessarily set project groups as to who's best friends or who really likes to collaborate. So if you have someone, find someone that you really like to study with, or that you can also work with the weekends and everything else, then we support that you do that. That's not something that we coordinate in that way, in this way. I think that was my version of it. Then maybe Akshita, you can say something more.
The course keeps in mind that project work could be really extensive. So they give you the period of time to prepare, like a 3-week period time before the examinations really start. So I think you try to manage somehow anyhow, and you turn out to be good. And if you're not able to manage, there are counselors like Tina really helps. And also you can ask the teachers. They're always there to help you with the study cafe. You can email them and write your questions and everything. But yes, that's my opinion.
I think maybe a comment to that one could be, at least that's what I hear, and you can confirm or not confirm, Akshita, maybe that I think you will find that lecturers at this program are very, accessible. We have an open door policy. We like very much to, interact with students and have discussions and dialogue, and this way that can be a bit strange for someone from other what you say educational cultures, but that is something that we value a lot and that we prioritize, that we have enough time for each student, and this class-based teaching and as well.
Yes, that's very true. And I give you an example, like for this semester, I'm working on project 3, fermentation. And in my group, we have an agenda where we need to work a lot in the laboratories. And supposedly you cannot work alone, you need somebody to be there. So one of our teacher, his name is Simon, he has been with us throughout the days, even on the weekends. He comes and we just have to call him, and he just comes there and he helps us. He just stays there. We have been working for like 3 consecutive weekends just on our laboratory, and he was always there. And also our chemistry teacher, Thomas, we wrote him emails since like one day before the exam, said, hey, we have this question, we have this doubt, could you help us? And he immediately replies to you with really full, full focus that your doubt should be answered in a proper way. So that's a very good thing.
So I was just getting a link to just share in the chat, because someone is asking if there are any other requirements to meet to be more likely to be accepted. No, you can't do anything sort of extra in that regard, but I will just quickly share the link here in the chat to the admission requirements. So you get that here and you can visit that. And if that leads to any additional questions, you can always contact the admissions office by email, admission@pha.dk. I sounded like someone selling something on TV there. Does not speaking Danish make everyday life more difficult at first? I think we'll let that be the final question, Akshita. How is it here in Denmark, not speaking Danish?
Mostly everybody knows how to speak English, so it's not a problem. And also, if you really have a problem, then you can download that app called Duolingo. You don't have to be perfect in that, but you can at least have some keywords in your mind so that it's not that overwhelming when you just come here. You can say that, oh, I have seen that word before. It's not a big deal. So yeah, but it's an international course, and I think it's taught in English, and so I don't think so that communication is a big problem.
Or you can actually, we have an agreement with the language school in Kalundborg, where you can actually have Danish classes on campus after a full day of chemistry and math. You can have Danish classes in the afternoon.
So Danish might actually seem simple to learn after that.
Yeah, maybe it will be so.
In that context.
Yeah. And then I think it might also be worth adding that Kalundborg is actually in some respects an international city, in the way that a lot of the companies that are located in Kalundborg have many international employees. It might not be that everyone is living in Kalundborg, but there are opportunities, for meeting other internationals in Kalundborg as well.
And that, of course, also means that the working language in several of the companies that we collaborate with is English.
Yes.
So again, you'll probably benefit from knowing some Danish in terms of everyday life, but in terms of studying and working, it's completely accessible in English. It's 9 o'clock. We're finishing up. We thank you for joining us. And if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact us either via email or phone. And you can find all our information, contact information on our website that I linked to before. So I think we will finish on that. Once we close here, you should get a little evaluation link that we hope you would answer, just to help us improve our Q&As in the future. So we would appreciate that very much. But other than that, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and have a great evening.